Welcome back to the show, everybody. Kamen Rider Build, episode number 41, The Truth of the Best Match. Now, before we get into the business at hand, think about what it was I just said as I introduced the title of this episode. The Truth of the Best Match. Here's the thing. I can only slow clap because damn show killed this shit. You went above and beyond anything that was the explanation for what we wanted to know for 41 episodes about why a thing goes with a thing, and I'll explain that later. However, I appreciate this episode went there emotionally. Now, I'm not sitting up here saying that past episodes haven't dealt with the different emotions like fear and joy and love and hope and all those things, love and peace and all that, right? This episode took it to a whole new level, understanding the raison d'etre of why this episode is named this and everything that happened. Yo, this end game is going to be majorly sick, and I, as a fan of this show, I'm ready for whatever this show wants to do, because if this is where y'all want to go with this, I'm 101% down with whatever y'all want to do. But enough talking for me. Let's get into this episode. We start our episode where we left it off. Is that we got that boy Sento Kiryu and that boy Takumi Kasaragi being the one with that ET shit. And that boy Evoto sitting up here like, yo, let's sit up here and let's discuss these black bottles. I have master plans. You have master plans. Let me show you what this new power is. Genius! And get owned up. That boy Evoto got owned up in a way that sits up here and it's like, damn, because I had one of them because I complained the last couple episodes about why that boy Evoto ain't getting owned up in a show of force. The thing is, we learn later in this episode that this show of force that Sento was shown all according to Keikaiku. And when I sit up here and we get to the point of the Keikaiku within the Keikaiku, it's kind of like, have you ever played that game Stacking before? It's a great game. I love it. Is all about like Russian stacking dolls. That is the Keikaiku inside the Keikaiku that this episode ends up getting to. This is insanely nuts. But yeah, Evoto gets owned up and holds a massive fucking L because I appreciate that show of force was a thing in the beginning of our episode, because yo, Evoto was finna sit up here and try to level up on a boy. Oh no, I got the winning formula, pimp. Oh, it's when I punch you really hard in your motherfucking chest and make you hold a massive fucking L. But again, you know what I'm saying? All according to the Keikaiku, inside the Keikaiku. But yeah, all in all, L delivered. And it's like, and then after that, Sento gets the phone call like, yo, your daddy alive. You know what I'm saying? Your daddy's alive, so it is what it is. So, you know, we've solved that problem now that you all caught up. We at the Nostra now, you know what I'm saying? Because be the one that hasn't changed the theme song. I'm not even. Anyway, so, yeah. I still sit up here like I have a legitimate question. As much as they have updated the opening theme song, and I'm not talking about the theme song itself, like the OP that plays over be the one, about why it's still not as updated as it could be to reflect the current state of what this show all the way is that everybody else gets shine except for that boy Banjo Ryuga the Juggernaut bitch. They ain't sitting up here showing him and yo Sutra Ultra form. They ain't sitting up here like, yo, I got red hot muscles. I'm that boy super duper dragon Juggernaut bitch. It's a shame that my boy ain't getting shot. But regardless, let's get back to the show, okay? Let's see. How do I do this? Give me a second. I got this. Okay, we at the Nostra. We chilling. Everybody sitting up here like, yo, what happened? Yo, Evoto got that boy owned up. You know what I'm saying? My daddy's alive. How do we deal with this? Oh, by the way, while we were talking to that Reika broad, oh, they gave you a USB stick. Go and put it in your computer because you know it ain't no viruses on that thing. And then they sit up here and they glance over the point of this episode of The Truth of the Best Match early on to sit up here and to get into a mini clip show. And this is where I start going like, the fuck? We find out through this clip show that every single thing that Evoto has done since he has landed on Earth has been a personal and striked attack against every single person that Sento's dad or Sento himself or the people surrounding him have had issues with one way or the other. So you wonder, it's like in this clip show, you understand Like, yo, why Bonjo's gal had to die? Why you sat up here got hand up in jail? Your homie, you was a homie in jail with you? Nah, and we sit up here and do all of this, and I'm just sitting up here like, I am like, that is insane. And it's like, it's insane to really think about on a real villain plan level of, the thing is that you realize that there were no connecting forms back and forth of anything until this and this and this and this and this and all this lines up into this straight line, and it's just kind of like, damn, really? Like, the show really had this going on the whole time. And it's like, as someone who sits up here and watches the show the way I do, to sit up here and to miss that, but it's like, the show didn't really telegraph it. But when you sit up here and take 2 seconds to legitimately think about the Keikaiku of Evolto, of, I'm going to sit up here and screw with you in a way emotionally as I scratch my ear, that this is the game plan. And I was like, damn. Like, I don't remember the last time I've seen the explanation of a villain plot go that together that well and have me stunned and shocked that this is the game that the show has been playing this whole time. And again, to go back to what I'm saying, it's something that I probably, and I'm honestly say that because it caught me, it probably got you too. That's something you probably never really considered, because again, like I say, the show didn't telegraph that all these things were linked in a way, even though, again, like I said, when I sit up here and close my eyes and think about it right now, yeah, that makes legitimate sense on what it does. One thing we do learn out of all of this, and of the plan being put together, while my boy, former leader of the current leader of the Swag Squad. That's my boy Gento Kohiro, former leader, the current leader of the Swag Squad. All he do is sit up here, like he sit up here. I don't know what he was dressed up as. I couldn't even tell you. I love that this is what he does as a character. He walks around in clothes and just sits up here and stunts. And Masora gets mad because he's stunting. Because, you know, stunting, man. Yo, stunting like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm leader of the Swag Squad now. What you gonna do? Regardless of that, we learn about someone very important in all of this. Shimizu. Shimizu is some guy that Sento fought in the first episode of the show. Is that they are trying to figure out this point and understanding who was this guy and why does he matter. We are going to take the rest of this episode and figure this out. However, I need to straighten up because I need y'all because I got to get loose for this part. I got to get loose for this. Remember, we talked about the name of this episode, right? The truth of the best match. This was the moment in the show I was just like, wow, are you serious? Like, this is what we're doing? Like, as the lead up into all of this gets to the explanation is, we found out what Sento did to Evolto was all part of the master plan. When he sat up here and hit him with that genius one-inch Bruce Lee punch, he sat up here and introduced emotions to Evolto. There is no way this can go back. Zero way that this can sit up here and backfire on you. Okay, I believe you, or you should believe me. Just believe me. Okay, you believe me. That's what we're going with right now. Okay, believe me that there is no way that Sento one-inch punching his current rival and bad guy or whatever is gonna go back. This is no way that this is going to go fucking horrible and you're going to take a massive L. No way. So, it is in this that we learn about that Evolto has emotions. We learn the truth of the best match. That, yeah, and when I sit up here, and because this episode was was flashback heavy a little bit, we understand that I had questions. Like, when this show first started, like, what do a rabbit and a tank go together? You know what I'm saying? Like, a hedgehog and a fire engine? A wolf and a cell phone, right? Like, a wolf and a smartphone, I should say. And I'm just sitting up here as I scratch my eyebrow. Don't know why I'm getting so itchy right now. Y'all, I don't know if y'all noticed, but I'm looking fresh as hell, you know what I'm saying, gang? Got the baldy, got the rock and all. I'm looking feeling good, but regardless. I am so glad that the show put this into some kind of understanding of why things that wouldn't go together, because the show set up her and put together Hawk and Gatling guns and stuff like that. And then as you notice, it's like, we really think about this, because I'm about to get into the explanation, but I want you before, because it's like, if you didn't think about it then, I want you to feel me on this right now. Think about what best matches are for the Bill Driver. Think about it, right? Dragons and keys. You know what I'm saying? Like, pirates and trains. Think about that. Is that in the sense of the show is trying to sell a toy, which I'm just going to bring it up because I think it's an important part of this conversation. Of you put two things together, because this show again is designed to sell toys. So you have collection trinkets or whatever. Let's do ourselves a favor for this. Throw it out the window, because it's unimportant. I wanted to mention it just for the full coverage of understanding, but the emotional thing of understanding that when Evoto was asking Soichi, sitting up here like, what are the essences that I could collect or whatever, and you sat up here and it was like Masura pointed things in a picture book and understanding that these are the things your daughter cares about. Now, what are the things that can take them out? And first, you get into, like I said, tanks and Gatling guns and all that. But then you get into comics and you get into, like, diamonds and stuff. This goes on a level of understanding that ultimately we understand and know that through all of this is he wanted to protect the things that his daughter loved once he realized what was going on. That's a lot to deal with. That's a lot to take in, to sit up here and understand that, yeah, we sit up here and talk about, like, yeah, these are collection trinkets, a toy, but within this universe and understanding why these things exist, how much emotional attachment that bottles can have when you sit up here and consider why they exist. And to sit up here that we at episode 41, and like, even though we've had the last couple episodes that have started to bring it together, this is the episode that solidifies what this show is. This show doesn't have to do another explanation of anything ever. There are going to be a couple of explanations, and we're going to talk about that a little later. But the thing is that whole scene, that whole lead up, and that whole thing of understanding like why this exists, that's that up here like, yo, I can't do nothing but respect the show for going there. Because it could have just been some simple thing like, yo, we wrote some things on a thing and these two things go together, blah. No, they sat up here and gave the full bottle existence meaning, an emotional meaning, a special meaning. And it's like, I can't legitimately remember the last time, for real, where outside of like a final power up or whatever that is brought on by emotional whatever, that the regular plain old trinkets that you collect in a show have this emotional importance and attachment. And I'm proud of the show for doing it. Because it's like, again, like I say, think about what I just said though. You watch this just as much as I do, and you know what it is. A lot of times when a rider gets the final power up, there's some emotional reason. Because I'm like, the first thing that came to my head was, what is the name of that Astro Switch? Because I'm sitting up here like the Galaxy Astro Switch, where it's like, he's my best friend and I'm going to do no matter what, and this power of friendship and all of us is going to sit up here and it's time to put in this work, and it is what it is. And it's like, that's the last time I really remember like a power up having some real meaning or like real emotional meaning. Not saying that power up sense, because a lot of times our riders have to go through something major, but this is on another level. This is on another level from even that, because every one of those full bottles has a meaning and a reason that they exist outside of genius form or black holes or great dragons or whatever the hell you got. This is on another level, and it's like, yo, I can do nothing again but respect the show for going there and giving this meaning. I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? So, with all of that being said, we have the rest of the episode to go, because I can sit up here and I could go all day about it. Let's see. In the meanwhile, Japanese Lois Lane, she went outside to go put in some work. She came back and sat up here and said, I lifted up my skirt and did strange things for pieces of change for this dude to come and meet you. And then we learn who Shimizu is. Shimizu was Sento and Takami's daddy's assistant at the school that they was at. So that's the link that brings it full circle. There are a couple of small links that when I sit up here and think about the show, about people we don't know and the attachment they have to this whole overarching plot, I don't know if they'll ever explain it. That's why they have movies and V cinemas or whatever, if they really want to really get in there. And I have a feeling that we are really going to for real get a movie about Sento's first time transforming in the building. Maybe we'll learn who that Smash is or things like that. I kind of thought that was something they would have done at some point, but they just haven't gotten around to it. But that seemed like a good throwback, like on some Begin Night type shit, which I haven't watched in a couple of years. But yo, I love me some Double, but indeed so. Here we go. Rest of the episode. We get Shimizu. He like, yo, the homeboys contacted me. What you want me to do? So he goes out there and he's like, hey, and it's like before he shows up, we get this inner monologue between Sento and Takami sitting up here trying to understand like what is my dad on right now? And it's like that's real emotional for anybody. Like think about my daddy all the time, and you probably think about your father if your father is a part of your life or whatever. Or consider your mother if you need to put someone else. Or you just sat up here and you didn't had a moment over someone you care about. Let's just streamline it at that, right? And you learn through this to sit up here, and you learn through this is that how emotionally what am I trying to say? How emotionally vulnerable they both are right now, understanding that they daddy's alive. It's not as sweet as it sounds, gentlemen. We'll get to that in a second. So they have this moment where they sit up here and they're both emotionally vulnerable. More Katsuragi than Sento is, but still that emotional vulnerability is out there and it's being pushed forward to you, the viewer. So I'm glad that they took some time to really sit down and really, again, address those emotions. I'm going to scratch my nose. Oh yeah, Shimizu shows up and then Genius Form puts in that work and sits up here, reverses it. Oh, but all according to the Evolto's Keikaku kills him as soon as he makes him understand what the plan is. You know what the plan is? The Lost Smash, the Lost Bottles are supposed to combine into some ultimate form of the Pandora's Box, which also explains how Bad Engine exists. As far as that boy Mad Rapist becoming Mad Rogue. So, we got that information. Here is where the Keikaiku comes into play. We understand and we know that, I explained it earlier, but I will just for the sake of the scene, is that here's what we know as people who watch the show. The rider system is fueled in emotion of that drives the person using the driver to exceed their own limits when their emotions are in sync with whatever they are. Not saying that you need one emotion or another to fuel it, that whatever the emotion is. It kind of reminds me of how Super Saiyan works in Dragon Ball. Like, you understand that different things trigger that transformation from who you were into who you want to be, and it's not exactly like that, but it's kind of like that, and it's the best thing I can think of on the fly. But again, think about hazard levels. Remember, we spent most of this season with Evolto trying to build up Banjo's hazard level by killing his girlfriend, setting him up, getting him almost murdered repeatedly, and all this old stuff because of. So knowing that's the case, this is exactly what happens. Evolto has emotions. You can finish the rest of the sentence. They sit up here and they go to war, and it's like, and they sit up here on that Dragon Ball, on that punch. You can see it in the air type shit. Sitting up here like, yo, I'm going off the meter. It's time to put in this work. And even Sento sits up here and catches a massive L. But catches a massive L in a way that sits up here and it's like, well, the Gene's full bottle is your match, but I can sit up here and raise my hazard level now because emotions are available to me. So we're going to spend the rest of this season watching Evolto grow in power as Sento truly understands how to use the Genius Driver with Takami's help. And I think that's just where the show is leading to. Oh, by the way, you also know where the show is leading to? Oh, Sento Daddy is working for Evolto, so there's that too. That was the thing I was trying to get to. That was the thing your boy was trying to get to. I'm like, I kind of knew, like, that's what they were playing on. So it's like, all this talk about why your daddy built the build driver in the first place was to sit up here and ultimately defeat Evolto with emotions and you helping him. So we don't know whether that's that you haven't been cured of nebula gas yet, or you still sitting up here high off the light of Pandora's box, or whatever your issue is at this current juncture, is you working for the dude you want to sit up here and try to put out of business. I'm gonna scratch my head. See, fresh cuts, guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is a triple to G.O.D. exclusive. I do my own shit. You know what I mean? Regardless of that, let me sit up for this part. Sit up for this here. This was a damn good episode. Damn good. Damn good because of what this show is doing, what this show has done, and what I really think the show is going to continue to do is to continue to bring you moments that sit up here and sit up here, catch you off guard, make you think. Because that's what this episode was. This episode caught me completely off guard because I thought that, a lot of times you sit up here and when it's time for because it's like, yo, I'm around it like this. We watch Kamen Rider, you watch other things related to Tokusatsu and other shows like that. When it's time for a legit explanation, sometimes the show lets your ass down. This didn't. I have been in situations and watched shows where it's time for a plot explanation as to why a thing is a thing, and it either gets written off as it's nothing, or it's oversaturated with a whole bunch of BS you don't need. This was the explanation as to why, done correctly in a way that I can respect, love, and appreciate. And that's all I can really say for real. Like, that's all I can really say, that this episode did a wonderful job of putting that into perspective. So it should be interesting to really see from this point forward to see how the show capitalizes on that as we sit up here and approach each step of the end game one episode at a time. Scratch my eye now. I know what I gotta go and do. I know what's going on with me, why everything's so itchy. Probably need another shower. This fresh cut is affecting me in a way I do not appreciate. But yo, want to thank you guys, man, for joining me for another review, man. Kamen Rider Build episode number 41, The Truth of the Best Match. Wonderful, excellent episode. Do what I always do. Let you know, thank you for coming through. We've got more show for you. So this is what you do. Sit back, chill, and relax. We're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to be right back after these commercial messages. Ciao.